years, we have been reading in the various muscle magazines that bodybuilding is a science. One magazine even calls itself a journal devoted to the science of bodybuilding, while another goes on to claim to do research. Yet these same magazines tell us that because we are all unique, we each require different training routines. What a massive contradiction. These same people who are trying to sell us the science of bodybuilding on the one hand are also telling us that bodybuilding is anything but exact, that there are no universal truths or principles, and each and every one of us has to be his own scientific agent and discover what works for us. Bodybuilding cannot exist as a science under those conditions, as science is a very exacting discipline. The fact is, however, that bodybuilding is a science, one that arises from specific principles of exercise physiology and nutritional science. It's true we are all unique as individuals, but physiologically we are all essentially the same. The biochemical changes that result in muscular growth in Mike Mentzer are the same for all of those of you listening to this seminar. And it follows from that the stimulus required to induce those very specific biochemical changes is the same for everyone. There is no mystery at all surrounding the requirements of muscle growth. The single most important factor influencing the rate of muscular growth, as I hope we all know by now, is intensity of effort. This is true for everyone who has ever lived, not just Mike Mentzer, Ray Mentzer, or Casey Viator. True, some will grow faster than others due to a greater innate adaptability, but we all grow faster when the intensity of our effort is maximum. Think about it this way. If you want your muscles to get progressively larger and stronger, something about your workouts must progressively alter. The only factor other than intensity that we can consider is duration, the duration of your effort. And if duration had to progressively increase to stimulate progressive size and strength increases, then by the time we reach the upper limits of our potential, we might be training all day long. That's impossible, obviously, as the body only has a limited capacity to cope with such prolonged stress. I hope it's clear what I'm trying to say. In order for a training routine to be productive, it must, of course, stimulate growth. And once growth has been stimulated, it must be allowed to take place. This means that your routine must not be so long that it uses up too much of your body's reserve of resources merely in an attempt to recover from the workout. Bear in mind, the first thing the body must do after a workout is recover what was used up during the workout. Obviously, when you're done training, something about your body is different. Something has taken place. Things have been used up. Energy has been used up, nutrients, chemical reserve, and so forth. And the first thing your body has to do after that workout is not grow, but recover and restore what was used up. Again, this refers to the concept of recovery ability. Only once it has recovered will it grow, assuming then again that growth has been stimulated first. A perfect routine then would, number one, induce maximum possible growth stimulation, and number two, use up a minimum of the body's reserve of resources so that growth can take place once it's been stimulated. A high-intensity program fulfills these two requirements of a perfect routine. We know with absolute certainty that high intensity of effort is a requirement for building size and strength. And since a high-intensity routine must be brief, it will deplete a minimum of the body's reserves. That makes sense, as the less time you spend engaged in training, the less reserves or resources you use up.
Direct application of these high-intensity training principles will guarantee optimal progress. While it is true that each of us are unique as personalities, it is also true that we are physiologically alike, making our training requirements practically identical. Yes, there are those who will gain faster than others, owing to differences in existing levels of fitness and development, age, and in innate adaptability to exercise. The important point to remember here is that you will grow progressively larger and stronger muscles only when you train with increasing levels of intensity. This is universal and applies to all human beings. Intense training is purposeful behavior aimed at the goal of increasing muscular size and strength. In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan.